I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
No good deed goes unpunished. Sex, lies, and videotapes. That's the moral of this week's story. As we are talking CW's Dynasty, Season 3, Episode 16 is the next surgery on the house. So much drama in the LBC. Can you believe all the things that Dynasty throws at you? Sometimes I find it hard to believe. I understand it is a soap opera, a drama, but this to me is real life Dynasty drama. Completes my week, especially in times of need, as we all are in quarantine time. We're stuck inside, but my heart is with each and every one of you. Well, I appreciate you for being here. I know you could be anywhere in the world, but you choose to be here with us. But then again, I don't know if you have a choice. I mean, everyone's just at home. So what are you really doing? You should be watching Dynasty, as I have, as we're breaking it down. This week's episode, CW's Dynasty Season 3, Episode 16, is the next surgery on the house. I'm going to break it down as this. Sam hires Kirby for a trial run. Colby is in the hospital. Fallon and Blake team up. The team up of the century. The dynamic, devious duo. Fallon and Blake team up. Rami is back. Adam helps Colby. Father Collins, that guy gives me the creeps. I mean, it's one thing when Father Collins is a father, but yeah, oh my gosh. Colhane and Kirby friends again. Cristal is no angel herself. Heidi was set up, or was she? She seems to be the one doing the setup. Mommy Dearest, I am talking about Liam's mom, of course, Laura Van Kirk. Fallon moves back. Liam's mom goes in for the kill. And that's that I'm giving you an offer that you can't refuse. One of those Godfather moments where we see Liam, you're not as far away from the Carrington family as you think, Liam. We have our special segment, Wow, where we pick the best outfit of the entire episode and discuss news and gossip. You're going to want to stay tuned because we have some Netflix news about Dynasty coming up for you, some predictions and more. I, of course, am the host, Tehran Von Gossry, alongside no one but myself. Bree is in the support booth. Maddie is unfortunately not with us today. Hopefully, she will be returning next week because she is the true Carrington insider, as she is a Carrington herself, and we can discuss all these things. Let's talk some CW's Dynasty Season 3, Episode 16 is the next surgery on the house. I want to let you know my overall thoughts because overall, this episode was fantastical. It was one of those twists and turns where you know you're watching a show, but it's craziness when Heidi says that Connor isn't Liam's son, but his brother from another mother, but the same father that they have. And Liam is thrown for a loop, and then Liam's uh, confrontation, his showdown with his mom, because you saw it in the beginning. It was such a good bookend where Laura's like, I'll be at the wedding. And now Liam's like, you won't be at the wedding. And of course, you get the drama going in. Colby's in the hospital. I'm getting sick of that storyline. If Colby's gonna die, let that guy die. He's like the guy that dies and he's just drawing out his death. It's like, ah. And I just want to thank, it's like, die already, bro. If you're gonna die, just let it go. He's been the slowest death poison of all time. Um, but I do also appreciate seeing a caring Alexis. Alexis is empathetic. Alexis is caring. Alexis is in the mode. And this new leap for Adam is not something I'm all about. Kirby makes an appearance. Andrews makes an appearance. They've been gone for a long time. It's nice to see them back. Of course, we get a Kirby storyline, but nothing really with Andrews. More of like fluff. Andrews was like the fluffer, just there to puff us up for the piece. Blake and Cristal turning a new leaf, that's not something I want to see, but we'll see how that goes down. It's already crashing. Father, no good. Basically, Father Collins is up to no good as he is the guy who seems to be the creepy priest in the least creepiest way. Can that be a thing? I mean, just so much to discuss. Let's start off the episode discussing the breakdowns of storylines. The first storyline we'll look at is we will look at the Fallon Liam wanting to keep Connor's storyline. That's its entire storyline on its own. Second storyline is, of course, is going to be Colby in the hospital, Adam and Alexis basically trying to figure out what to do about his liver. And the third storyline that happened, as they're all intermixed and intertangled, of course, is the Sam hiring Kirby and Colhane's big event for the Atlantics at La Mirage and the return of Rami. So we're going to break it down, those three storylines. First, let's talk to the main one, which was the teaming back up of Blake and Fallon over the fact that Connor's mom, Heidi, has decided to take Connor out of the situations, taking Connor back to San Diego. As she says, they have a life there. She wants Connor with her. And honestly, it's true. Most times, courts will always side with the mother. Anyone who's ever been in a custody battle in the United States knows this for the most part. It's very tough and an uphill battle, as Randall, the lawyer, states in the beginning. If you want to take the child away from the mom, especially in the circumstance of Liam and Connor, Liam didn't know, wasn't aware of Connor's existence, signed away his parental rights, hasn't been in Connor's life more than a couple months. I mean, there's a lot of things going against Liam, but this newfound love Liam has, especially Fallon, who we didn't ever expect to be on board, to have those motherly instincts, especially coming from a household where she knew and understood the lack of a loving mother. To see Fallon blossom into what could potentially be motherly instincts is an interesting transformation, to say the least. Some would say it's wonderful, some would say it's pitiful. It doesn't matter. It's definitely, what we're doing is adding a new dynamic layer to that character. We're adding an empathy that Fallon had never displayed before. We know Fallon the narcissist. We know Fallon. We know Fallon the manipulator. We know Fallon the conniving. But do we ever see these go towards a good or seemingly good cause? And even though the path to hell is paved in good intentions, oftentimes Fallon's good cause is simply herself. This time, her good cause is reuniting Fallon, reuniting Connor with Liam, because she knows what it's like to be in a house without a mom, or a present mom, or a loving mom, or a caring mom. And this absentee mom idea is what is bothering Fallon. And that is a new dynamic we had not seen in Fallon's growth in character throughout the seasons, all three seasons of Dynasty. Have we seen Fallon grow? Yes, of course we've seen Fallon grow. Fallon has become her own CEO, her own boss, out from under the shadow of Blake. We've seen this for sure, but we've never seen Fallon grow in an emotional, empathetic character with different deep layers. And that is the important note and takeaway from this confrontation. However, as all good things, you go back to what you're comfortable. So instead of trying to reason with Heidi, which seemed to be no reasoning, what does Fallon do? Fallon goes back to Blake. The apple does not fall too far from the tree. The two get together. As Fallon says, why not go to the expert, a person who knows how to take a child away from their mother? Blake, of course, being referred to as the mother taker awayer because of how he had handled the Alexis situation during Fallon's upbringing. And that is particular to this situation because, as Blake states, there were a lot of hidden skeletons in Alexis's closet, something that I think is going to be a foreshadow to future issues and events. With Fallon, her going up to Blake starts what we as the audience are loving, because it is the reconciliation process that we've been waiting for. Fallon and Blake have seemingly been together but estranged for this entire season. Fallon, of course, coming into her own once she finds out that Blake is possibly, allegedly, we know for a fact, a murderer. So we see this as the reuniting. Even towards the end, Fallon says, Liam and I are moving back in the mansion. And here we get an excited Blake showing the depth of love he has for his daughter, which is going to play directly into the end of the show as we discuss Laura Van Kirk's proposal to Blake. Now, going into setting up Heidi, that's the best they can do because they investigate Heidi and there's nothing really in her past. I mean, even when they go to see where she was, quote unquote, as I throw in air hyphens, when she left Connor with Liam, she went to some retreat and spent the whole time apparently trying to reach her son. So her story of she missed Connor and it was just this temporary lapse seems to be very accurate, an accurate portrayal. Heidi does, to me, however, still seem to be, unbeknownst to her, a lacking mother, simply because no mother or parent, for that matter, should ever just leave their kids in the company of basically strangers if you really want to get to the heart of the stake. However, it seems that she is clean. So what does Fallon do? But of course, let's set up Heidi. Stolen car trick. That works every time. You basically, Blake gets out, looks like the valet. Fallon walks away from the car, says, "Do you mind bringing it around back?" Heidi gets in the car, drives, police pull her over, and voila, we have an instant felon in the making. Something that's perfectly capable of being used against a mother in a custody battle. It's of course coupled with her vacation where she just took off. This seems to go in favor of Liam. However, the other shoe drops when Heidi drops the bomb. That I don't care who you are. I don't care how nice your crystal ball was. This is something we never saw. We might have thought that Connor was not actually Liam's kid. Never saw a DNA test. We might have thought that Heidi wanted something more from Liam, given the nature of the show. We might have thought of all these things, but what we never expected was for Connor to be not Liam's son, but dun dun dun, Liam's brother. That's right. Heidi, high school Heidi, had an affair with Liam's dad, had a child, got pregnant, had this child, and then we find out that Laura Van Kirk herself was behind hiding this from the public and Liam, and she never once spoke up. So this clearly causes a huge wedge in between Liam and Laura Van Kirk. I mean, Liam has always taken, or at least tried to be neutral in the side of his mother. We know that Laura and Fallon are always at odds, but this was the huge boulder that broke the camel's back, because Liam no longer feels like he can trust his mother. And if you saw the beginning of the episode, you saw how Liam's mother, Laura, was so certain that she will be at the wedding. Fallon, of course, getting in, having her snappy remarks, and they're getting it in with one another, getting in those quick wit battles that they love to get into. And what does Liam do? He does the Liam thing, which is stay neutral and basically say, "Yes, my mother will be at the wedding." But at the end, Liam agrees. Does not look like Laura will be making that wedding after all. This was too far. I want to know what you all think. Did Laura go too far? Actually, you should all say yes, but I just want to know what you think. I want to know where you are, everyone at home, because honestly, I appreciate each and every one of you for watching us each and every week, sharing, supporting, showing love, writing in the comments below, spreading the word, sharing the love, especially in this time of need. We appreciate you because you're not only our AfterBuzz community, no, you are, if not as much, more so a part of this panel as all of us here. There is no in studio anymore. We're all in our homes dealing with coronavirus together. So I appreciate each and every one of you for watching. If you're listening to us on iTunes, give us that 5 stars we so greatly deserve. And thank you for making us the ESPN of TV Talk. I appreciate you. And I appreciate the staff of AfterBuzz that are working diligently around the clock to keep AfterBuzz going. So thank you so much. Everyone in studio, Stephen, Bree, Ryan Nilsson, everyone in studio holding it down. We appreciate you. So we get that storyline, which is the main storyline. We see that as the main storyline. It's also the storyline that Anders seems to make a couple appearances. I don't know where Anders has been. It's been surprising to me that we've been underutilizing Anders, simply because, of course, Anders is one of my favorite characters. He seems to be the glue that keeps the family together, yet the family is going on without Anders. So watching Anders not be there is a surprise. A character who is being underutilized right now. I hope the writers are listening. Let's make sure to use Anders. Anders, I'm sure, has a bigger role coming up. Why else reintroduce him, as he has been absent for the last couple of weeks? We haven't seen any Anders. And then, of course, we get Kirby back on the scene. Haven't seen a lot of Kirby. Kirby's also an extremely underutilized character, especially with the affair with Adam seeming to end abruptly without a conclusion. I would love to see and explore that much more, especially since Adam himself has taken a wayside as a main character as he has turned a new leaf. We see a compassionate Adam, we see a compelling Adam, we see an Adam who seems to be interested in the good or the common good much more than his own personal good or the sake of the Carrington self prophesized good. Seeing this Adam is not my favorite. I love dubious, devious, mischievous Adam. That was my favorite. I love seeing Adam be the most evil character on the show. But right now, it seems Adam's the only character with moral implicity. Adam was the one who said, even said to Alexis, hey, maybe we should just tell Colby what happened. We should tell Colby that we poisoned him with with the curing drug. We should tell his doctor, Dr. Khan. We should be upfront. Alexis, of course, putting the kibbutz on that plan. Then Adam is the one who comes out of the way, even though Colby basically Alexis admits to Colby that he he was poisoned for his own best interest, but uses only Adam and does not throw herself under the bus. Colby gives Adam an ultimatum, and and yet we still see Adam is willing to do instead of trying to go out of his way to figure out a way out of the ultimatum, which is what the old Adam would do. This Adam is actually interested in helping Colby. He's the one that finds this mysterious liver disease that can be overly looked and yet fatal because he's aware of it. And he's the one that finds it, brings it to Colby's attention. He's the one that basically goes through and finds a donating uh, for a donation, a liver for to be done to him. These are things that the old Adam might not have ever done. The old Adam didn't have an interest in uh, becoming a doctor again. The old Adam, of course, we do see some. Look, before we go, because I don't want anyone in the comment to be like, wait, yes, Adam was about to cut open a dying person to steal their liver and try to steal the body before it went to the morgue. Sure, even though it was against that person's religion, I get it. But it was still for a good cause. That's what we have to look at. The old Adam would have looked at for a way out. This Adam is looking for a way in. Alexis caught me by surprise. She seems to be fundamentally fond of Colby, and she depicts such a strong emotional response to seeing Colby and Adam both being taken into surgery. I mean, we see her teary eyed response. Have we ever seen Alexis cry for anyone but herself? I don't know. I don't remember. I don't think that that's ever been the case where Alexis actually cares. I mean, I thought this whole time that the Colby marriage was a sham. It was something just to get back at Blake, and yet there are definite, real emotional ties. Of course, we see that she's felt guilty about Adam before, but to see this motherly bond, another transformation into possibly being having motherly connections and intimacy with their child. We see that from Alexis. We saw that from Fallon. Something very interesting, something that we see Cristal reverting from, which we will get into for sure. However, watching this unfold and seemingly be the catalyst to a new leaf for both Alexis and Adam. I'm hoping that Adam doesn't die. I mean, we know he's already donated a part of his liver to his adoptive mom, and therefore a second transplant could be extremely fatal, high risk surgery, that's for sure. It doesn't help that Colby has an extremely rare liver type. And of course, the irony that only Adam is the matching donor in the entire family. That just seems like irony. In fact, if I had a superpower, irony would be it. I live in irony. So it's great to watch Kermit the Frog sip the tea, but we know that Adams reluctantly at the beginning is like, I don't want to do this, but then at the end he comes to head and he breaks down an emotional state that we never thought that Adam would feel so alone. Adam says, I see how many people Colby would leave behind, but if I died, it would just be you. And he's speaking to Alexis. And that shows, uh, once again, speaking about depth, this is the depth of character that we're talking about with the growth of Dynasty. The characters are developing, oh no, should I say it? Feelings. They're developing feelings. They used to just be cold-hearted, backstabbing, conniving evildoers for one another for the almighty dollar, the powerful power. However, now we see a connectivity between each and every character, which is surprising and heartfelt. And I hate it. I need conniving, manipulative, dubious, mischievous, backstabbing dynasty. Sure, we're getting some of that. Sure, Connor was Liam's brother, not his son. Get it. Sure, we were going to cut open a cadaver against the family's will. Sure, but nothing's deeper. I need more. I need more backstabbing. I need more hurt. I need Adam to go back to being Lex Luthor of the Dynasty family. I need this. It's what I crave. So I hope that this turning a new leaf is just temporary, as it's a temporary sanity in total insaneness. That's what I want. I want insanity. I don't like this temporary sanity. I need it. I need it to be crazy and dirty and just vile. That's what I love Dynasty for. However, I have to admit that they're writing these extremely well and utilizing most of the characters except for Kirby, Anders, and in my opinion, Adam, utilizing most of the characters. And speaking of turning a new leaf, the character that I'm starting to dislike the most is Cristal. Once again, evil Cristal was a boss. This nice Cristal seems snivelly and wibbly and just nagging all the time. And I usually try my best not to attribute nagging as a quality simply because it seems to be dismissive of an underlying root or cause. But in this situation, it just seems that there's no other way to describe Crystal's demeanor. She's simply nagging and complaining all the time. She complains to Blake that he's not turning a new leaf with her and not there for the meetings, and even compares Blake's relationship with Fallon, his daughter, with hers. And that can never be. Honestly, to me, Fallon is Blake's priority. She has been there his whole he has been there her whole life. And the new enzyme, the new introductory is Cristal. And yes, it's been a couple years, but it hasn't been that father daughter bond. So that's something Cristal should never ever want to get in between. Also, Cristal's attitude to Father Collins before he became Father Collins the creep was also extremely rude. You never know who people are. Treat the janitor with the same respect you treat the CEO. That's my personal motto. And that's where we had the old Cristal, but the new Cristal is a lot more bougie and stuck up and basically dismisses this father before she realizes she needs something from him. Now, going to Father Collins, you have to realize Father Collins, with his muscles and his sweat, is kind of a creep, because that is not the role that a priest or pastor should play. Is when Cristal even says, "I'm sorry, I thought you were hitting on me," and Father Colin goes, "Oh no, I was definitely hitting on you." Because there is that tone where you always feel like, oh, he's hitting on her. But once you realize he's a father, you're like, but he's not supposed to be, right? It's inappropriate, right? It's not willful in the eyes of the Lord, is it? And it's like, oh Lord, he's going in for the kill. He basically hits on Cristal when she walks in the gym the first time and calls him a gym rat for it. He basically hits on Cristal when she's giving confession, trying to get him on board with her board's decision. And he's basically hitting on Cristal when he admits openly that he's hitting on Cristal. I wonder what his end game is. What do you think you can accomplish, Father Collins? Would you go through with it? Is that who you are? Is that who you want to be? Father Collins is going to be an interesting character, but to bring in a priest to take the place of Adam seems to be sacrilegious on itself. I mean, this is a person who seems to play a role, because in the beginning he even says, "I'm different than Father Kingsley. I don't believe in playing politics. I don't believe in being a part of all the things that are going on in the hospital. I don't think that our church's um, place is in those fields." And yet, with a little bit of wily charm, Cristal was able to convince him, simply because, is it Cristal that was able to convince him, or was Father Collins basically convincing himself? because he gets to be close to Cristal. That's what I mean. I don't know if I'm appreciating Father Collins yet, but I'm sure there's a lot more to develop. And of course, we get the final storyline before we get a segue. The final storyline being the the Sammy, La Mirage, Cole Hain, Kirby throwing the event. That storyline, of course, Kirby comes to Sammy, basically needs a job. So Sammy gives Kirby an opportunity. We see a lot of second chances in this episode, a lot of second chances. So Sam uses second chance to give Kirby a job. Kirby uses her lack of experience as experience with Imperial to throw these events. And for her, and to her credit, as Colt Haynes states, she did an amazing job. She threw a party, it went well. In fact, the commissioner losing his watch is something that he could never or should never have blamed on Kirby. I mean, how do you prevent a watch being stolen at an event? That's not something the organizer is supposed to even be responsible for. That's more of a mind your keepsakes, be aware of the things you have, that kind of sensibility. This wasn't something Kirby should even be blamed for. But we get Rami being introduced. Rami, of course, a throwback from season 1 where Sammy utilizes Rami to rob the manor, and Rami gets caught and keeps his mouth shut so Sammy doesn't go to jail, but Rami does. Throwback, Rami's back in the mix, taking up, in my opinion, for this week's lack of Dominique and Vanessa's trouble and all their crazy going on. So watching Rami come in, Rami being a thief, Rami being a felon, Rami keeping his mouth shut, coming in, Sammy giving him a chance, allowing him to stay at the hotel, and then he is the one responsible for stealing the watch after all. And more importantly, which leads to the second part, Sammy gives him a second chance, which he asked for. Sammy reluctantly gives him a second chance. And what does Rami do? Rami immediately goes into Rami mode, steals Sammy's keys, makes copies of them, and more trouble is to ensue. That's the only thing we can take away from that. The only thing is that Rami now has all the keys to all the rooms in all the hotel. We saw what he was able to do in one night. What's he going to do in a week with all the keys? I don't know. We do see a reconciliation between Colby and Kirby, which is interesting. So that allows us to see how that might play out. Of course, they haven't really spoken since the illustrious breakup, and Kirby basically being involved with one of Colhane's players. We haven't seen them truly interact, and we haven't really seen much of Kirby nonetheless. So getting Kirby back in the fold, knowing that Kirby's going to be around, that was a setup for this. And Kirby, of course, being the one who blamed Rami to begin with. And even though she was right, she was so wrong to simply blame Rami because of his past and not because of his present. That was a prejudicial bias. That was a basically profile of Rami, and that was something that I was very unappreciative of, especially coming from Kirby, because Kirby, you haven't been a perfect angel yourself. Just know that we've been aware you've done a lot of things that were wrong, including stealing from Imperial, if you want to be 100% truthful. And so for you to simply blame Rami was something we were all on the lookout. That wasn't cool. Even though it turned out to be true, by the way, definitely turned out to be true. And Sam did the classy thing by not exposing Rami in public to everybody, not just bringing him down and toppling him and giving the Kirby the "I told you so." He kept it private because he did not want Kirby to basically develop those mannerisms, and also because he wanted to save a little face since he was the one who vouched for Rami, and knowing that Rami had kept his mouth shut. So Sam has a little bit of guilt. It wasn't as altruistic as it should have been, but I felt like it was more altruistic than not. So it's good on Sam's part. Given that we see Rami ask Sam for forgiveness and know that Kirby's not an angel and we should be careful about throwing stones in glass houses. That's what we see in the showdown between Blake and Cristal, when Blake comes in the valet outfit, and Cristal basically goes off on Blake and says, "Oh, so you're back to no good. You're this person. You're a negative person. You're a guilty person. You're a criminal. We were trying to do better." And then Blake saying, "Wait, let's not forget why we're here to begin with. You tried to kill my ex-wife. You basically scammed your way into everything. Let's not forget who you really are either, Cristal. And the only reason Adam doesn't trust you, and it was in accords to Adam's trying to get rid of Cristal, as she was the untimely person who was foiling the liver robbery. Basically, the reason Adam doesn't trust you, let's be very frank, is because you set him up, you try to get him sent back, you try to make him blind, you tried to you tried to set him up when he was blind by making him think that I slept with the girl he was in love with. I mean, Cristal has been no angel throughout this process either. So we see Cristal being no angel, and of course, the final move, Liam's mom, Laura Van Kirk, no angel at all. Something that, by the way, Liam is guilty of, because Liam specifically says, I help. Who do you think helped swipe the keys? That's what he says to Heidi when Heidi confronts Fallon and Liam regarding the setup of being set up for stealing a car that she had inadvertently done so. So now we get Liam's mom. Liam's mom comes into the frame, and she's been thwarted by Connor, and the reveal that Connor is basically Liam's brother, and she knew the whole time. So she approaches Blake with an offer he can't refuse. I mean, to give Blake his company back or block the sale, simply something he, by the way, has been driving this entire season, at least for more than half the season. The concept that Blake has wanted CA, and Colby was the one who was able to purchase it. So giving Blake the option or opportunity to say, if you break up Fallon and Liam, I will break up this sale. And now we wonder what Blake chooses. I want to know below what you think. Which one is Blake going to choose? Do not watch next week's episode and then tell us. I want to know now. So let us know now. Let's get into our special segment. Wow, the best outfit of the episode. The best outfit is going to go to Rami in that amazing suit, as he wore the dark camel gray suit with the black shirt, comes in fixing the cuffs. I mean, look very smooth. Great look on Rami. Great look on the outside. Horrible and ugly on the inside. How many people does that tell us about? Let's get into some news and gossip, shall we? Everyone's been watching Dynasty on Netflix. Seasons 1 and 2 are out. If you haven't, you're missing out. Even if you've seen them, it's great to go catch up. I know I have. I binge watched season 1 and 2. Watching it a second time, especially knowing where it goes, is a great look. Now, everyone's been wondering when season 3 is finally going to be released on Netflix. The digitalwise.com mentions Netflix ran the bloodline as a Netflix origin, and we get that a lot of episodes have been on and off when it comes to Dynasty. We are now knowing that we are expecting, in the United States at least, that Dynasty season 3 air sometime late May 2020 or early June 2020. The exact date is not published, but we're getting it known here first. So look forward to more Dynasty. Let's get into some predictions. Bringing out the crystal ball. I think that Anders is going to play an extremely large part in something that was brought up, which is, what are Alexis's secret? Blake says they're there to protect Fallon, not to protect Alexis, but I think the key is Anders. We may find out that Connor isn't the only one who wasn't aware of his true parental lineage. I think that we are going to get Blake actually giving up, and I'm going on record saying this, Blake will give up his company for the love of his daughter, because as we've seen, Fallon means more to him, even though he doesn't want her to. Fallon means more, and he knows that Liam and Fallon together is what drives Fallon's happiness. I think that we're going to get possibly a Kirby and Rami development. I think that that's going to play a part. Rami is clearly a Kirby type. I mean, if you remember the soccer player, Rami looks like a dark, tall, dark, and handsome version of that soccer player who was already tall, dark, and handsome. I mean, Rami's a good looking guy. Sure, he's a thief, but that's just how it's going to play out. Sam is going to be caught in the middle of a rock and a hard place when it comes to these two, and his secret might be leaked out. because that is the ace in Rami's hands. I think that Cole Hain is going to get back into the picture, but not with Kirby as she thinks, but more as a mentor. And that's going to play a problem for Vanessa, who already has issues when it comes to Dominique, because of course Cole Hain has slept with Dominique. And I think Father Collins is going to be all the creep and more. And we will find out more as we get into more of CW's Dynasty. We will be back for more season 3 next week. Until then, find me at I Am Tehran all across the board. That's IAMTEHRAN. And of course, hosting and paneling on a slew of other AfterBuzz shows, because all of your favorite TV shows are my favorite TV shows too. Until next week, make sure to say hi to Maddie Pox at Maddie Pox. Let her know we missed her, and we will see you next week. Bye.
Our founder, Kevin Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination